What's up everyone, Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. Today we're continuing our Everyday Carry series. We're going to talk about pens, from the tactical to the practical. Let's jump into it. First off, let's just talk about the fact that I'm filming this video in my car. Why am I doing that? No particular reason, just thought I'd mix it up a little bit and do something different. But let's jump into talking about writing utensils, pens, pencils, etc. Okay, so when it comes to carrying a pen as part of your everyday carry, the primary use is going to be to use as a writing tool. So you're going to be taking notes, you're going to be jotting things down. So you want to have a pen that functions well, not just something that looks cool or maybe just has, only tactical applications. If you want something that's just tactical like that, self-defense, etc., maybe you should just be carrying a coup baton instead. So writing is our number one use. Secondly, you can use a pen for self-defense. I would just challenge and encourage people to think about, are you ready? Are you prepared? Are you trained to use a pen, whether it's tactical or not, in a self-defense method? And what's your thinking behind that? Because some people think, well, I'll just take out a pen and start stabbing at people and I'll keep them away from myself. Now if you've gotten to the point where you've got a pen and you're using that as a method to keep somebody away from you, that's a situation that has definitely escalated pretty significantly. So just keep that in mind when you think about tactical uses for a pen, whether it's a tactical pen or not. Are you ready? Are you prepared? And do you know how to actually use it in that method? Two other things to mention about pens when it comes to your everyday carry setup. First is consider how much you are spending on the pen versus how much it's going to cost you to replace it if you lose the pen. So for me, I'm the type of person that it seems like when I invest more money in certain items, I'm very careful to not lose them. Other items, for example, sunglasses, I don't spend a lot of money because I end up breaking them or misplacing them, and so I just have decided not to spend a lot of money on sunglasses. The other thing is think about what you're going to be writing on as far as a surface. Maybe you're outdoors a lot and you're going to be writing on a write in the rain pad or something like that. If that's the case, probably best to have the type of pen that works best with that type of material. So that's not for everybody. If you just have a little notepad that you maybe keep in your car or your bag, any pen will probably work. But just be thinking about that. Is there a specific material that you write on because you're outdoors and you want to have a pen that fits best in with that type of material? Let me start off by telling you my favorite everyday carry pen. It's this one right here. You can see it says Zebra F301 and then it says 0.7 millimeters. So these run about $3. You can pick them up at Walmart, CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, that type of place. Not super expensive. They write really well. And I just like the way they feel in my hand. They're the right size. I like having the click at the end for an everyday carry pen. I do want to note again that it says F301. And these are Zebra pens, and then it says 0.7 millimeters. This one is 0.7 in black. This one right here is 0.7 in blue. I also have another 0.7 in black. And the reason I have a bunch of them is because I've bought a couple different styles of these, because this one says 1.6 millimeters. And let's see if you can pick it up on the camera here. But yeah, you can see that. There's definitely, I'll put it right in front of my face, you can see a difference. This one over here definitely has a thicker point than this one does. So I bought some of the 0.7s. I liked them and I went to buy more, and instead I bought this, what is again, 1.6 millimeter. And this is just way too thick for me when it comes to, taking notes as compared to this one. So make sure you get the right size. Inexpensive, well made. Once again, if I lose a pen like this, not the end of the world, because I can replace it for, I think it's actually $3 for two of them at once. So I carry this often in my my pants pocket, either my front pocket or a side pocket. I can also carry this in a bag really easily. I often run this through molly straps on the outside of a bag. So if I've got my sling bag across my chest, I can just reach out, boom, pull this out, take notes, and then slide it back in. So once again, the Zebra F301, and I prefer the size that is 0.7 millimeters. Now I'm sure a bunch of you are saying, yeah, that's a pen I could pick up at Walmart. Show me a tactical pen. You got it. This is the Gerber Impromptu Tactical Pen. This originally ran, I think, about $75 or so. It's down to around $40. Nice pen. It is heavy. Compared to the other pens out there, this thing has definitely got some heft to it. It also has, built right in there at the front, at the top, you can see it's got a built-in glass breaker. So you've got the pen that'll pop out like so. So now you can see the actual pen. And then it has a built-in carbide glass breaker. So this thing is made as an emergency tool. Now, this came with originally, unfortunately, a dead, but nonetheless a Write in the Rain insert or Right in the Rain cartridge. So I had to swap that one out, buy a new one, but it'll write upside down, it'll write at all different angles, which is really nice because, you know, that's what you want in an emergency situation. It does have a pocket clip, so that's nice. The size is right. It may take a little getting used to when it comes to using this as just a pen to, you know, take notes with, because it's notably heavier than your average pen that you probably use, you know, at the office or something like that. As far as a self-defense tool, it could certainly be used as that. You can use it to break glass. My beef that I've shared this in another video called My Beef with Tactical Pens is that when you have a push button at the end like this, that's a moving component. So if I had to use this, you know, I always think about the sternum as a place that if you had to tap somebody to say, hey, I'm really serious about getting away from me, you have a moving component in here. It's not make or break, but I'd prefer to have something that's not moving if I have to actually use this, you know, as a self-defense item. This thing is a tank though. I mean, I've dropped this thing, I've used this thing in all different types of settings and no issues whatsoever. So if you want to spend some more money and you want to get a pen that's going to last you for a long time and easily replaceable as far as your ink cartridges, get those Right in the Rain refills, this is definitely one you want to check out. Gerber Impromptu. Next up here we have the Cold Steel Pocket Shark. Now this is not just a pen, this is actually more of a marker, but look at that thing. That is a large writing utensil. So this thing is, I mean, it's probably easily twice as wide as a Sharpie. You're gonna twist the cap off like so, and then I'll show you what the actual marker looks like. It is a pretty fine point as far as your marker goes, but this thing, you know, if you're writing, taking notes every once in a while, and you're not using a pen a ton, and you don't mind using a marker, this thing definitely will be usable as a self-defense weapon, Kubaton. I mean, this thing is just really, really big and hefty. I'll show you the end there. You can see, I mean, actually, they make it look like a shark on the end. Something like you'd see like on a, you know, an old school World War II plane, a Corsair or something like that. So, yeah. Now, the downside of this is that if you don't like using something that's basically a wet pen or a marker, then you're not going to like this. So this is definitely going to fall into more of a marker category. But it's going to run you around $10, $12, and it's just really, really hefty. The thing I like about this is you can throw a pen into a bag and be like, hey, where did that thing go? With this, you're definitely not going to lose it. It's just big and large. Still has a pocket clip there, so you could put it in. You can certainly carry it in a pocket, but you could also run this, like I said, about some of the other pens into the Molly webbing on a bag, and you're good to go. Now you got the Cold Steel Pocket Shark accessible to, you know, fight off bears or to sign a card for your nephew, whatever it is. Real quick, I want to go back to the Zebra 301s and note that if you like that style but you want a pencil, they also make it in a mechanical pencil. So this is a 301 MP for mechanical pencil, and then it says 0.5 or 0.5 millimeters. So just a heads up, if you like that style but you're like, I want a pencil, not a pen, they do have that as available for you. Okay, let's talk about Sharpies. Now, if you've ever used a Sharpie, you know that they work well and they are permanent. So if you want something that you can, you know, possibly wipe off, this is not going to be the option for you. If you need something that's going to write permanently on whatever surface you have to write on, Sharpie is going to be a good option. Now that said, there are some surfaces I find that this doesn't work great on. It will work on duct tape, but you really need to let it dry, because if not, I found you can smudge it or wipe it off pretty quickly. Now, the reason I brought this one is because a lot of people know Sharpies. I mean, they use these all over the place. There are a bunch of different styles. A new one that I'm kind of interested in. I don't know if I want to actually it's probably only $5, but I don't know if I want to spend $5 even to buy it. But it's this type of Sharpie, but it's got a click on the end. I see them using it at like Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks, you know, to write on your coffee mug or on your coffee cup. This one, however, is sweet. This is a Sharpie pen, and you take it off, you click it off, and then you put it on the end cap, and it is a pen. It's going to be a wet style pen. So again, that's a stylistic thing. If you don't like a wet pen, then this is not going to be a good option for you. But this thing writes really fine, and it's got this aluminum body, lightweight, nice looking, and it clicks on nicely and goes on here nicely, and there's no movement in the cap when it's actually on the end or when it's on here. Very, very solid. So I like that because I like Sharpies. I don't mind a wet pen. And also, again, when it comes to a Kubaton type item or a self-defense tool, I don't want moving parts. And this thing, even though that end is a little bit smaller than I'd like, I like the fact that there's no moving parts when it's this way or when the cap is on the other end, you know, when I'm actually using it as a pen. So this is a cool one to check out. It's going to run you, I think, probably like if I remember, it was less than $5 when I picked it up. So, you know, this is, again, not the ultimate tactical weapon or anything, but it's a pen that works well. It's a Sharpie, and you can pick this up at a variety of different locations. I got mine at Target probably 6 months ago or so. All right, so that's the Sharpie pen. Let's do another tactical pen. This is the CRKT James Williams tactical pen. And real quick side note, I saw James Williams at SHOT Show 2016 just a couple months ago, and I walked by him and I was like, I know that guy from somewhere. I know that guy from somewhere. Who is he? His hair was a little bit longer, his beard was a little bit bigger, but I was like, legit when I walked away, I'm like, is that Obi-Wan Kenobi? And then I was like, no, he passed away not too long ago. But then I figured out, oh, it's James Williams. So side note, back to the pen. I've used this pen on and off for a while. This is one of those like, I really like this, but there's some things that kind of annoy me about it. So overall, the pen writes well. It does take a Fisher Space Pen, and I'll show you the writing end in a moment. First thing I want to mention though is the pocket clip. You can see here, let me put my hand behind it. You can see there's a little too much space there. So if you get this, I was running this in my pocket and I was finding that it was moving really too freely for me. So what you can do is take this end cap off. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah, here I can do it on camera. Take this end cap off, and then you got to put the clip into a vise, you know, maybe in your workshop, and bend this back in. But as it is right now, it's a little bit too loose for me. So just a heads up. I don't think that's a major flaw of it, but just be aware when you get it. Test it to make sure that it's fitted properly for, you know, whatever pocket you're going to be carrying it in. So you can see this is not the writing end, this is the self-defense end. That is definitely a business end to this pen. So that's not a blunt end. You're not going to hold it like this and put your thumb on that end to, you know, use it in a self-defense method with that the cap end. So that's really your only option, and that thing is serious. Is it gonna, it's not a knife, but I mean, if you hit somebody hard enough, you can break the skin. So just be aware of that. Again, I want to ask the question, are you ready? Do you know how to? Are you prepared to use a self-defense pen? The contour is nice. When you take the cap off, it just pops off by friction and then slides on here. And that's what your pen end looks like. Comfortable to use. I have used it for writing in a lot of different situations. One thing I have noted is that the friction does keep this on, but there is some movement. Let me just twist this up fully so it's nice and tight. There's still some movement. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, there's a little bit of movement there in the cap when it's on the you know, the other end when you want to use it as a pen. Using it as a pen, no big deal. But again, I don't like a lot of movement in a tactical pen. I like things to be locked up nice and snug. When you put it on this end, I'll show you again. A little bit of movement there as well. I do like the how wide that is, you know, to put my thumb on this. But again, I mean, you're really committed in a situation if you're going to use this in a self-defense, with a self-defense methodology. That is quite aggressive. And while this would be considered officially, I guess, legal to carry on a plane, you might get somebody's attention if you're carrying this. They might look at that and say, nah, no dice. And then you're just going to have to think about, do I want to go through the hassle, the fight of like, no, that's my pen, it's legal, it's TSA approved, blah, blah, blah. I'm about like 95% sure this is TSA approved, but that doesn't always mean that you can get it onto the plane without causing some kind of stir. So this one's going to run you, when I got it from CRKT, but when I looked online for a while, it was running around $40 or so. And I'll put links to, of course, all these items down below. Do I recommend it? It's kind of hit and miss. I like a bunch of things about it. There's some things I'm not crazy about it, but you got to decide for you. You know, other things that I don't like, if they're not a big deal for you, this could be a great pen for you. Once again, the James Williams tactical pen from CRKT. Okay, we got 3 more pens to talk about. First up is this pen from Schrade. Now, Schrade has a lot of different tactical pens. They have some that are, you know, useful as a writing tool and also in survival. This one is just basically a writing tool. To, you know, click on the end to deploy the ink so it'll come out here. Nothing super special about this one as far as anything other than I find it very comfortable and it's a nice size. It's a little bit more compact than some of the other tactical pens out there. The material that it's made from is quite solid. Pretty sure it's an aluminum, and I'll put an annotation right here into the video to let you know specifically. But it's just a nice pen. It works well. The clip, as you can see, let me hold my hand up here. Let me turn it. You can see the clip is very snug, so it's definitely not going to fall out of your gear or your pocket. It may be a little bit too snug for people, but I definitely would prefer it to be too snug and have to bend it out as opposed to it being too loose. So that's one Schrade pen. Here's another Schrade pen, and this is their Survival pen. You can get this in a bunch of different colors. This is kind of a burnt orange. And this one is cool because it's got a bunch of different functions. So first of all, let me talk about using this as a self-defense tool. That is not like super pointed. Let me just show you the end there. Yeah, you can see it's not super pointed, but it's a little more pointed than you know, just a rounded end. So I like that, and the size of the end there, you can really get your thumb on there. So as far as like a coup baton or, you know, self-defense tool, I think this one probably is one of the better ones that I've seen out there, that it meets all my criteria when it comes to that type of tool. So self-defense, yes, definitely usable. Take this off and you've got your pen. Now that is not a Fisher Space pen. Let me actually open this up just to show you. It's a very, very small insert for your, there it is. That's what your ink cartridge looks like. And there's the information on there, so I'm not going to read all the numbers to you, but you can replace those, just order new ones, but it's not a Fisher Space pen, which some people really want or like. So there's your pen. Here's your cap. The cap goes onto the end and screws down. I like that. Some people, you want to be able to just pop it on. I like that it screws on and actually will stay nice and firmly in place, no issues whatsoever. So you got your pen, you got it as a self-defense tool or a coup baton. Let me untwist this. There's a whistle built into that. And that thing works, man. That is loud. That is not smart to do in your car. Don't ever do that. So we do have a whistle built in. That is a helpful tool, not just, you know, if you're in the middle of the woods, but just if you need to get someone's attention because you're injured or you got a gang of munchkins coming at you. Like, okay, now you can actually, munchkins, what? Anyhow. It's good to get somebody's attention. You could use that. Now, here's the other cool thing. Untwist the body here, and we've got a ferro rod built in to the pen. And now on the end cap here, untwist this. Let's see if we can get it. Actually, you got to twist it that way. There you go. And there's your striker. So, ferro rod and striker built right into your pen. Now, here's what I'll tell you. My original pen, I had you can see here we've got the striker and then threading and then the actual end cap. These things started to get separated, so I put some crazy glue in there and made sure they were very secure. Don't do that, and then before it dries, put it back into the end of the pen because it'll basically secure it on there, and then you're probably not going to be able to get it out. But you got that, which goes right in here. So we just and it's going to be actually, let's see, counterclockwise to put it back in, just by the way the threading works. And then you have your ferro rod here. This one can come out, so if you want to take it out, you know, you can use it without it being attached to the pen, and then you can put it back in. You could also, if you wanted to, you could put a dab of crazy glue, you know, maybe on the bottom of the threads, put it in here. I have never asked Schrade if you can buy replacements for the ferro rod, but you know, you could certainly check that out. If you don't want to glue it, is what I'm saying. You may not want to do that, because then you could replace the ferro rod more easily. The other thing I found, I'm just trying to reassemble this whole thing, is that you can use, hang on a second, there we go. You can actually use the pocket clip to strike the ferro rod as well. So I've used that. Let me just show you with the striker real quick that it does actually work. Doing this in the car. Here we go. Ready? Let's see. Make sure we get it clearly on camera. Ooh, I want to set myself on fire. But as you saw, it definitely works. So there's an option for you when it comes to, man, just cool. Have a pen on you. Now you always got, if you have this pen on you pretty much every day, now you always have an option to, you know, basically have a fire starting tool with you, because it's built right into your pen. One thing I will mention is that if you get it, make sure you tighten all the different sections down so that, you know, you don't take the pen out to use it and find that you lost the end cap because it came unscrewed. Schrade Survival pen. This thing is cool. This thing is really cool. It meets a lot of the criteria for me when it comes to a tactical pen, and the fact that it's got a ferro rod in there. Like, it's not a huge ferro rod, but you have a pen that you can start a fire with. It's pretty cool. All right, let's look at our last pen. Last pen I want to talk to you about is this one. This is the Fisher Space Pen. This is the packaging. It comes in So that's what it looks like on that side. There's the actual pen. You can get it in a larger size or a small size like this. You can get it with a pocket clip or without a pocket clip. I got mine without the pocket clip. I will say that for only 15 bucks, it is packaged pretty nicely. It's not, you know, I'm not gonna like buy a pen just because of the packaging, but it is cool that it does come, you know, in a cool looking container. This is how small the pen is. I mean, look at that. Like, you can hide it quite easily if you had to. This is definitely the smallest of all the pens. Take it out like this. Put the end cap on, and it's not so small when you're using it that you feel like it's awkward, but when you store it, it certainly is easy to, you know, it's just a very small pen. So downside of this, with no clip, you can't put this in your molly webbing. Maybe if you put it in your pocket, it's gonna, if you put it in your pocket, it's gonna fall to the bottom because it's not clipped on. I decided to get one without the clip just to mix it up. I usually have pens with clips on them, pocket clips, but this is just a little bit different. So when you open it up, there is a, let me just see if that, yeah, I thought it was an O-ring. I wasn't totally sure. But there's a little O-ring right there. And when you put this in like that, you can see where the O-ring rests. But when you close it up, that O-ring helps it get nice and snug so that it's not going to fall apart. Once this is closed up, no movement whatsoever. Very, very snug and secure. And once again, when you make it, you know, ready, when you put it in the ready to write position, it's a nice size. Sometimes you get these tiny little pens that people think are really cool because they're small, but you have to write like this. It's kind of weird. Cool pen, Fisher Space Pen. So, you know, the history of Fisher Space Pen, basically the idea as far as your everyday application is that you can write in a million directions, upside down, right side up, you know, on the wall, whatever it might be. The idea is that this guy is really usable. If I went and did this again, I'd probably get the one with the clip because I like how compact it is, but I do prefer a pocket clip. So I would probably do it again and get the pocket clip. Fisher Space Pen going to run you 15 up to about 20 bucks depending on what setup you get for the pen. But really, really good pen, and they're so impressive to people that they actually, if they don't like the pen, they still buy the inserts because the inserts work so well. So check them out, Fisher Space Pen. So there we go, everyday carry pens. Now all these pens that we've talked about here, I've used in some form or another, and I've liked them enough to share them with you. They do have strengths and weaknesses, but all pens do. And of course, there are other pens out there that I haven't talked about that other people use. So if you're using a different pen than one of these, let's hear in the comments, what are you using? And tell us why you actually like that pen so much. And I'll be interested to see those comments because I'm always looking for, you know, maybe a slightly better product out there than what I'm using. So maybe you'll send me in the right direction, which I would certainly appreciate. We'll be continuing our everyday carry series with all kinds of items, so keep tuning into this. If you haven't done so yet, I want to invite you to subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids. Click that red button down there that says subscribe, and therefore you'll be, when you do that, you'll be getting updates on all the different things that are happening with the Everyday Tactical Vids. Last thing I want to do is invite you to use the links below. You just click the Show More tab, and that'll take you to the description box. And if you use those links, even just searching, if you go in through the link that's down there to buy something like whatever, you know, a pen and paper, and you got to buy some slippers for your wife, whatever it is, if you use that link to get into Amazon, you'll actually benefit Everyday Tactical Vids. We'll get a tiny little cut of the money that's spent. So that helps us support the channel so we can go to things like SHOT Show and Blade Show, upgrade our gear, and keep the videos coming to you. So always want to thank you guys so much for your support, and stay tuned for more videos. Take care.